You counted your girlfriend's calories. You know what? I'm not gonna make a quick judgment. I'm just really interested in how they try to justify this one. Happy Apple Picking Day! Two quick reminders for any of our new friends. If you want a chance for your stories to be featured on Am I the Bad Apple, you can send them to my subreddit, r/Am I the Bad Apple. And as a reminder, we all come from different branches of the apple tree. And what that means is that we've all lived different lives. We all have different experiences, and those experiences are gonna shape how we view the world, right? They're gonna shape our opinions, they're gonna shape what we value, they're gonna shape the boundaries that we have, and we're all different human beings with different experiences, so all of those things are also going to be different. Which is why we practice constructive communication and looking at different perspectives and walking a mile in each other's shoes here on this video, in this community, and in our comment sections. So without further ado, let's get started with this week's episode of Am I the Bad Apple? Let's go apple picking! Apple number 1. Am I the bad apple for not paying for my stepson to go to private school? I, 39 female, and my husband, 47 male, are at odds right now about the education of our children. A little backstory. About 6 years ago, I started dating my now husband, and he was the father of 3-year-old son, Mikey. I, at the time, had no children. I decided early on that I wanted a life and a family with him. I started thinking about our future, and I decided that I wanted to send my children to private school. This is kind of based on my own educational experiences growing up. I, of course, never wanted a situation where Mikey felt left out or less loved, so I immediately enrolled myself in school to finish my degree so that I could be on track to graduate and help send Mikey to private school. Well, my husband accused me of being elitist and said that he was fine with his son going to public school. I made it clear that my children, if we were to have any, will never go to public school. That I obviously have no say in what goes on with Mikey. That's him and his ex's decision. But I was already enrolled in school. I figured I'd finish the degree and get a good paying job whenever we had children. Well, once I finished, I not only was making triple what I was before, but I was receiving bonuses that helped me make some good investments, and I kind of came into a small fortune. Fast forward to present day, Mikey is 9 and loves his school and is excelling, and I love that for him. I've been able to start a college fund for him that would pay for a 4-year tuition for most colleges in our area, and I still have 9 years to add to it. We now also have a daughter together, Shelly, who is almost 5 and will be starting school next year. She was recently accepted into this very prestigious private school in our area, and we'll be attending. My husband was kind of annoyed at first, but I assured him that it wouldn't affect our finances of the household, so he agreed. Shortly after Mikey had visitation with his mother, he came back miserable. Apparently, Mikey told his mom that he was sad his little sister was going to a different school because he wouldn't get to show her around. Well, his mom took that opportunity to tell him that I didn't care about him at all, and that's why I was sending Shelly to a different school. I was heartbroken. I had to sit there and watch Mikey cry, asking me if I loved him less than Shelly. I tried my best to explain to him that that wasn't the case. My husband came in yelling, screaming that my elitism and obsession with private school and sending Shelly to private school was the cause of all this mess. Well, now my husband's family is saying that I'm showing favoritism to my daughter over Mikey. I feel defeated. Should I just give in and send my daughter to public school? Am I the bad apple for wanting to send my child to private school? I don't even want this to start a debate of public versus private in the comments. Send your kids where you feel comfortable sending them. Now, I'm of course not gonna tolerate people, oh, public school indoctrinate your kids, blah, blah, blah. Gretchen, I don't have time for this, okay? I'm just gonna say this and I'm gonna end the argument because I don't have time. If I had the ability when I was a public school teacher to indoctrinate your children, I would have indoctrinated them into bringing me caffeine in the morning or actually coming to class, putting their names on the top of their paper. Most of us can't even get them to do that, okay? So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And don't give me the, oh my gosh, but I heard about this one case in Kansas. There are 4 million teachers in this country. Are you trying to say because there's one whack job who just so happened to slip through the cracks and get into a classroom that all 4 million teachers in the country? No. Anyways, send your kids where you want to send them, period. The fact that this stepmom offered to send Mikey, and his parents were like, no. And she's like, hey, that's fine. I don't want to overstep my boundaries. This is your child. I understand that I don't have a say in that. Like, I respect that. I respect that wholeheartedly. She offered. She took Mikey in as her own, loved him as her own, but understood that they get the final say in the decisions. She wanted him to have the same opportunities that she knew her kids were going to have. Like, I love that. I think that's a win for her. The fact that, like, they turned her down and are now saying that because they turned her down, her daughter can't have the same experience, that's messed up to me, personally. And, like, again, I've never had kids, much less stepkids, so maybe there are some step parents that can, like, offer a perspective that I haven't thought about before. But I can't see why in any world she would be bad. Like, I can see a world where Mikey's mom wouldn't want to take what she might feel like is a handout. It's not, because she loves Mikey too. But I can see where Mikey's mom might feel like it's a handout, might not want to take money from the new wife. I can see that. That's fine. I'm not mad at Mikey's mom for putting her foot down with Mikey's dad and saying, no, we don't need to do that. We don't need to accept that money. What I really hate, though, is Mikey's mom, like, using it as like a, well, it's because she doesn't love you. What? Unless I wonder if Mikey's dad never told her. I would still be very furious with Mikey's mom, because, like, regardless of even if she didn't know that the offer was there, that's still a disgusting thing to tell your child. Like, to try and turn your child against the step-parents on purpose, like, that to me is just gross behavior. Because the dad's parents also got on board with, like, favoritism, I'm actually wondering if he just didn't tell anybody. And that's not her fault. Like, she offered. So, like, no, don't let anyone gaslight you into, like, what you are wanting for your kid. If you can afford private school and you prefer to send them to a private school, absolutely. There are goods and bads about every kind of school that exists, right? Whether it be public school, private school, charter school, homeschool, whatever. There are pros and cons to every single option. There's not a magic formula where one is perfect and there's no issues. That just doesn't exist. So whatever you deem is good for you and your family and your child and your situation, like, that's fine. Don't let anyone gaslight you into thinking otherwise, especially your spouses and their family members. So, like, I'm gonna go good apple here. I really can't see a world where she would be the bad apple. Like, again, maybe there's something that I'm missing or not thinking about that I would love for you guys to, like, let me know down in the comments. But I don't see it. Apple number 2. Am I the bad apple for making my mom feel like a bad parent? So there's this new Target commercial going around where a little girl is dressed up as a hot dog. It came on while my family was watching a scary movie. I, 20 female, am home for college for the weekend and brought my boyfriend, and my mother, 57 female, decided it would be hilarious to mention that she made me a hot dog costume as a kid. She told everybody that all the girls wanted to be Disney princesses, but I had to be a hot dog. So she went out of her way to make me that costume. That, however, is not actually what happened, and I called her out and said as much. What actually happened is that I wanted to be Snow White. I told everybody at school, including the teachers, that I was going to be Snow White. I was obsessed with that movie as a kid, to the point where I would actually get invested in doing chores because I was cleaning up just like Snow White. My dad and I would watch the movie all the time, and I was very excited to be Snow White for Halloween, especially because my ballet studio was doing a special princess dance. We all signed up for special princess slots, and I'd shown up early with my father that week just so we could sign up for Snow White. Well, I really wanted to make dinner for my family like Snow White made food for the dwarves in the movie, and I tried to make them all hot dogs and made a huge mess. That's when my mom decided she wanted to be quirky, and that because of the mess Snow White made me cause, she was a bad influence. My mom surprised me on the day of Halloween with this really crappy hot dog suit and told me that if I didn't wear it, she'd never let me watch that princess movie ever again. She took a million pictures, and the other girls teased me for months, and it was the most humiliating moments of my childhood. I told the real story of what happened that day, and I made sure to mention that I got through that day by pretending that my mom was the evil queen making me dress in rags, but the rags just happened to be a garbage meat costume. My mom got really quiet after that, and after we left. My brother said that she was crying and looking at pictures from that Halloween. I didn't want to make my mom cry, but it's a crappy memory for me, and it felt like she was trying to humiliate me all over again in front of my boyfriend, but now she's accusing me of saying she was a bad mom and a bad parent, and I had a terrible childhood, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. Should I not have said anything? Was I the bad apple? Okay. I'm going to say something that is going to hurt some of your feelings, very much. And, I'm gonna hold your hand when I tell you guys this. Y'all gotta stop posting weird crap of your kids on the internet. And I'm not just talking about things that I see scrolling on TikTok. I'm talking when I'm on Facebook, like my private Facebook account, and looking at people that I know. I see people that I personally know posting the weirdest, cringiest things that I'm like, why would you ever post that? What? Again, I'm gonna hold your hand when I tell you this. I see so many parents posting like, oh my gosh, look at this funny, cute, quirky thing that my kid did. And I'm like, that's a literal photo of your kid going to the bathroom in his bathwater. That's funny? Like, you think they're gonna find that funny on Facebook in 10 years? Why? Or like, here's my kid climbing on something dangerous in the stairwell. Ha ha ha, so cute. No, that's what? Like, these are real examples that I've seen in the last year. It's not cute. It's showing red flags. You've gotta stop, like, using your kid's embarrassment as entertainment in ha ha he he's. Like, it's not funny. That's mortifying. What? And like, what do you expect? You keep that photo up for 10 years and the kid comes around and says, hey, that's not cute. That's actually devastating. Please take that stuff down. Or is that supposed to make them a brat? No, because no one wants videos of them going to the bathroom in their bathtub on Facebook. That's disgusting. Be better parents. Like there's a line, right, between something that's silly and innocent and something that like traumatizes your kid, whether in the moment or down the line when they grow up and realize what happened. Like, come on. I don't really have sympathy for the mom. Like, I just don't. I'm going good apple on this one. And you know, yes, is this a pet peeve that I have? Yes. Did it strike a chord? Yes. I'm still going good apple, okay? Like, I'll never understand the like going out of your way to embarrass your child in front of like a new significant other that they're still getting to know. Like that, what? Apple number 3. Am I the bad apple for yelling at my mother for putting religion over my birthday? I, 14, almost 15 female, just stormed out of my mother for prioritizing religion and not my birthday. I'm Jewish, which means this year, October 12th, was the holiday of Yom Kippur. However, October 12th is also my birthday. It really sucks knowing that I'll have to be fasting on my birthday. When I walked into my house today, my stepdad told me that we were going to be going to the synagogue on Friday so that it wouldn't have to be on my birthday, which I thought was pretty neat. In a conversation that I had with my mother, however, when I mentioned that, she told me she hadn't heard of that plan. She said that she didn't want to celebrate my birthday on my actual birthday and didn't even want to go anywhere for it. She offered alternatives like the day before or the day after, but it's too late to get anything planned for tomorrow, and I already spend Sundays with my bio dad. Last year, my 14th birthday was one of the worst days of my life, and I came home in tears, not even wanting to blow my candles out. I won't go into why, but it was just a bad day. So I was really hoping that my 15th birthday would be better, especially because it was over the weekend. But apparently my mom doesn't even think we should celebrate that day. After she told me that, I just stormed out, probably making her feel really bad, and it might even start up another argument later tonight and put the blame on me, but I need to know if I actually messed up for moral reasons. Am I the bad apple? I think my answer is actually going to surprise a lot of people, but I'm probably going to go crab apple. I was considering bad apple a little bit, but I think I'm going to go crab apple. And there's a lot of reasons for it. And let me explain a few things to you guys. So for those that don't know, Yom Kippur is I'm Jewish, for those of you guys that don't know. Yom Kippur is part of the high holidays, which the two are Rosh Hashanah, which is like the Jewish New Year, and then like after is Yom Kippur. And Yom Kippur is basically a time of reflection. You fast for a day, meaning you don't eat or drink anything from like sundown the day before until my mom always says like when kitchen's closed, but like sundown to the next day at sundown, you break fast, right? It's supposed to be a time of reflection of any wrongdoings you might have done for the last year. It's a time where you apologize to people that you may have wronged, reconcile relationships, things like that, right? And the thing is that a lot of people don't realize is that in many parts of the world, like even saying Happy Yom Kippur is frowned upon because it's not supposed to be a happy holiday. It's a somber time. It's when you're thinking of everything that you've done wrong in the last year and how you want to do better. It's like the idea of atoning for all of your sins for the last year, pretty much. Like it's not a celebration. It's not a celebratory whatever. And I see in a lot of the comments, people are like, well, like, break fast and celebrate. And they could find something to do, but Yom Kippur is not supposed to be a happy time. And I can definitely see why in that mom's head, like not wanting to combine the two, combining your child's birthday with a somber holiday, I can see her not wanting to do that. I can also see, now, the thing about Yom Kippur is that like a lot of kids don't fast the same way adults do. Sometimes the kids will still drink water during the day. Sometimes they'll have breakfast. But the adults fast, right? And like obviously people who are pregnant or sick or like they don't fast. But if you're able to, you're supposed to. And most people that I know on Yom Kippur don't really like going or doing anything because when you're not eating all day, being outside, if it's hot out, it makes you thirsty, right? Going somewhere and smelling food, that makes you hungry. Like it's a very, very normal thing to just stay inside and like find ways to keep yourself busy on Yom Kippur. So like no, the idea that her mom didn't want to go anywhere or go do anything, like that's very normal. And like Judaism is very different than a lot of religions because not everyone does Judaism the same way. There are some people who are Jewish in a cultural way, meaning they do the holidays and the traditions because it's what they do. There are people who are very religious when it comes to Judaism. They do the religious traditions and they do the holidays and the traditions from a very religious standpoint. And we don't know what her family situation is, right? We don't know if they're Reformed Jews. We don't know if they're Orthodox Jews. Like we have no idea. And like it's not the same thing as having a birthday on Christmas where everything is a joyous thing and everyone's always together and you're celebrating and eating and drinking. Like that's not what Yom Kippur is. I can 1000% see situations where like that's just not an option for some people and for some families, and like that's fine. And I thought it was really interesting seeing some people in the comments try to compare it to like Christianity, and it's not. And like having a birthday on Christmas, and it's not the same. Like, yes, Yom Kippur is one of the holiest days of the year. That does not mean that it's a time of celebration. Like most people don't see it that way. Honestly, like as someone who taught 14-year-olds, because like I taught high schoolers, she said she's about to be 15, so freshman, sophomore in high school, first of all, feel like at that age, like you know that. You know what Yom Kippur is. You know what Yom Kippur is about. Second of all, I saw in the comments a lot of people talking about how like birthdays and validation and presents and blah, 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 blah is like super important. How can the mom not take this seriously? But like, especially with everything that's gone on in the last year, right? You're 14, 15 years old, so you're probably chronically online, especially if you're submitting a story on Reddit for a YouTube channel, right? You're probably chronically online. I understand that you're a teenager and you might lack the awareness and the maturity, but I'm going to hold your hand when I tell you there are way worse things than not celebrating your birthday on the actual day that you were born. There just are. If that's your biggest qualm right now in life, that your last 2 birthdays were not what you wanted them to be. And I know you said that your 14th birthday was the worst day of your life. I'm gonna tell you that whatever happened, I'm so sorry that it happened. But you know what? You have food on the table, and you have electricity in your house, and you have a house. I'm really sorry for whatever happened to you, and your feelings about that are valid. But like, I think at 15, I feel like that is old enough to be aware enough to understand that, you know, there are worse things in life than not having your birthday celebration on the exact day that you were hoping it to be. Whether you celebrate it the day after or the day before. I know you said there's not enough time. Okay, next weekend. Just ask your mom to do something next weekend. Like that's actually really common in my family when people have, like we're all working, we got things going on. My mom's birthday was on like a Thursday last year. Okay, we just did something Saturday night because we were all free and available. So I'm not going to give you bad apple because you are young, but I still think you're a little too old to just be completely in the clear and given good apple. And I say that as someone who taught people your age, that I've seen plenty of kids with that kind of self-awareness, and I just feel like a little bit of that like touch of reality would be very helpful for you. Not that your birthday doesn't matter, not that I don't want you to do all the things that you want in life, but I think some understanding that like, hey, sometimes things come up and sometimes we just go with the flow and celebrate on a different day, like that's fine. And it being something as important to your family as Yom Kippur seems to be, I feel like that's reasonable to me, at least. And you know what, maybe some people think I'm wrong, maybe some people think that I'm completely out of line here. You let me know. Just let me know down in the comments, but that's just my opinion, so I'm going to go crab apple for that. Apple number 4. Am I the bad apple for counting my girlfriend's calories? My girlfriend's on the bigger side, which is something I don't mind. I'm more on the fit side, like I'm pretty lean and have well-defined muscles, and I'm probably only about 15% body fat. I used to be about 40 pounds heavier, but I lost the weight pretty simply. My girlfriend always complains about her weight and her body, and I tell her that I find her beautiful for so many reasons outside of her body, and it didn't matter to me whether she got bigger or smaller. Eventually, she just decided she wanted to lose weight, and I offered to help, but when I pointed things out that she could do better, she just gets mad at me. Well, she isn't losing weight currently, and in fact, she's gained a couple pounds. I asked her what exactly she eats in a day, and she says she eats healthy, so she should lose weight. I questioned that, and we had an argument. I tell her that if she wants to show me, let me spend a day with her and see what she eats in a day. She said okay, but only if I don't make comments on what she's eating as she's eating it, and I agree. Now, by the end of one day, she consumed a plate of avocado toast that was about 400 calories, a coffee that was 110, an 800-calorie salad from Chick-fil-A and a fry as a reward for the salad, and a veggie burrito that was about 500 calories. This is all along with snacking throughout the day. Her total consumption was about 2,200 calories. And at the end of the day, I explained this to her. My exact words were that the amount of calories she's consuming is the amount that I need to maintain my weight as a man 5 inches and 20 pounds bigger than her, who is also constantly active. So if she keeps up with that diet, she's just gonna slowly gain weight eating like that, and that eating just healthy isn't gonna guarantee she's losing weight. Well, she got super pissed at me and told me that I wasn't helping her, I was just shaming her. I told her I just wanted to help, but she's not listening. So, am I the bad apple? I never think it's a good idea for you to offer help with like weight stuff with partners for a lot of reasons, okay? First of all, I feel like when partners get involved like that, sometimes it can feel like the motivation for like you wanting to get healthy and lose weight more comes from like wanting to please your partner rather than wanting to do it for yourself. Whether it started out that way or not, I feel like when you're getting the help from the partner, like you're wanting it not always, but I feel like a lot of times it turns into like wanting to please them, and that's not a healthy reason to want to lose weight in general anyways. So like already bad. Next, sometimes when people aren't aren't doing what they need to do to lose weight, like you gotta give them a little bit of tough love about it. And I don't feel like that's ever a good thing to come from a partner. If you are unhappy with the way that you look and you decide that you want to like look into certain kinds of diets or exercise or anything like that to do something about it, you want your partner to be there cheering you on and encouraging you and offering the positivity. You don't want them to like have to be the bad guy chastising you for not doing everything that you should be doing. Like, I don't think that partners getting involved in that kind of thing is ever a good idea. Yes, you did say that she agreed to you helping her figure out like what she was eating, but I am a little worried that maybe you talked her into it. Not in that you were like, you have to do this, you have to do this. I'm hoping that it came from on your side, from like a way of wanting to help her so badly. I know that when you love somebody, you want them to get the things that they want so badly. And sometimes you want to do everything in your power to help them get it, right? And I am wondering if like that desire to be helpful came off as her feeling like you really wanted her to just lose weight, which can also be very demoralizing. So like in general, again, partners just shouldn't help with those things, in my opinion. Furthermore, I feel like the way that you approached her with the data was very unhelpful. Like, hey, here's what you're eating, and this is what I eat, and I'm bigger, and I weigh more, and blah, 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 and I'm active, and like, that doesn't mean anything to her. She's not a dietitian. She's not a personal trainer. She's not like I know that when I started eating healthier and my friend Tarzan would explain those things to me, I was like, that means nothing to me. I don't know what that means. Instead, if you go and take into her height, her age, her weight, like what does she do? Instead of looking at like telling her about what you consume, I would say instead approach it as like, hey, someone your age, your height, wanting to, I don't know how this works. I don't know if you put their current weight or goal weight into the calculator. I don't actually know. I'm not an expert on this. But like you take her measurements and say, hey, your age, your height, whatever, should be consuming this many calories. Whether they be good calories or bad calories, calories are calories. This is how many calories they should be consuming. And you are eating this many calories. And so that is why it's not working. Like, you don't make it about you. You don't do the comparison. You make it about her. This is her journey, her health. That's what you focus on. So, I mean, like, I didn't even love some of the comments you made about, oh, well, I tell her that I find her beautiful, like, outside of her body. Well, what? Like, that's a weird comment to make about the woman that you love, but okay. Like, I just think it's worded weirdly. And I'm going to choose to think that you just misspoke a little bit. Personally, I'm definitely not going good apple because again, I think that the way that it was gone about it was, I don't agree with it. Like, I don't agree with the comments that were made. I don't agree with how you were explaining it to her. I feel like it could have been handled very differently, and I don't like the way that it was handled. It's not just that I would handle it differently. I don't like the way that it was handled. I'm not going to go bad apple because she did agree, like, okay, yes, here are my rules. Don't say anything about my food while I'm eating it, and you did that. So like, props for that. Thank you for adhering to her boundaries on that. So I'm not going to give you bad apple because you had this deal, you had this plan, and you followed through on that. I just don't like how you then relayed the information. Yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. Bad apple. Like, if you're going to go about helping somebody, like, I think taking the time to understand the best way to relay this information and, like, taking the time to figure out what she really needs and the best way to go about things, like, that kind of care needs to be handled. And if you don't have the time or you don't have the knowledge or anything, then find a professional. But when you're dealing with a loved one and their body image and their mental health with those kinds of things, like, you go the long route, you make sure that you do it right, and if you can't, then you find a professional. But I don't think this was explained to her correctly in a way that would be productive or constructive. So, all right, so I got 2 good apples and 2 crab apples. Did you get anything similar to me? Did you get anything different? Definitely let me know down in the comments. And as a reminder, if you want a chance for your stories to be featured on Am I the Bad Apple, you can send them to my subreddit, r/AmITheBadApple. And for your well wishes today, all right, it is National Tavern Style Pizza Day. I don't know what that means, but I do love pizza, so I like the sound of that. And National Make a Dog's Day. So I guess it's make a dog happy. So If you've got a dog, go give them a little extra treaty treat because they deserve it and make their day. It's a national holiday. That's a good reason. And if you don't have a dog, let's all go find Tavern Pizza and figure out what that means and enjoy it because it sounds delicious. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day and hope to see you all next week. Bye, my lovelies. Mwah.